Admiral Kim Tae-ho stood at the window of Earth Station 1 and watched the stars. He had been doing this for 20 years now. Ever since the first alien ships came to Earth and changed everything, the galaxy was big and full of different species. All of them were stronger than humans. At least that was what everyone believed. The communication screen behind him made a soft sound. He turned around and saw the face of Ambassador Vex Kala from the Vex-Tar Empire. Her yellow eyes looked at him, like he was an insect. Her sharp teeth showed when she smiled, but it was not a nice smile. "We have taken the human colony at New Seoul," she said. Her voice was cold, like winter wind. "Your people fought well, but they were weak, as always. We need workers for our mines, so we took them all. Do not worry, human. They will live as long as they can. Work, Kim." Tae-ho felt his hands become fists, but he kept his face calm. 20 years of practice had taught him how to hide his anger. "How many?" he asked. 3,000 adults and 700 children, she replied like she was talking about the weather. "They will make good slaves. The children are young so they can be trained properly." The screen went dark. Kim Tae-ho stared at the black screen for a long time. 3,700 human beings taken from their homes and sold like animals, and the Galactic Council would do nothing. They never did anything when humans were hurt. Captain Park. Ji-woo entered the room quietly. He was Kim Tae-ho's most trusted officer and had been with him since the early days. Park Ji-woo had a computer pad in his hands, and his face was serious. "Admiral," he said, "the Galactic Council has responded to our request for help, Kim." Tae-ho turned to look at his friend. "What did they say?" "They said the Vex-Tar Empire has the right to take workers from worlds that cannot defend themselves. They said it is an old galactic law." Park Ji-woo looked angry. "They also said that humans should have built better defenses if we wanted to keep our colonies safe." 20 years, Kim Tae-ho said quietly. 20 years of being patient. 20 years of following their rules and accepting their insults. 20 years of watching our people suffer. He walked to his desk and sat down. On the desk was a thick file marked Secret Human Development Project. He had been waiting for this day. The day when human patience would finally run out. "Sir," said Park Ji-woo, "should I send the usual diplomatic message? Should we ask the council to reconsider?" "No," said Kim Tae-ho, "signal all human fleet commanders. Tell them Operation Reckoning starts now, Park." Ji-woo looked surprised. "Sir, are you sure the aliens have bigger fleets than us? They have better weapons. They have been fighting in space for thousands of years." Kim Tae-ho smiled for the first time in days. It was not a nice smile. "Do they," he asked, "do they really have better weapons across the station?" Lieutenant Lee Na-ri was listening to alien communications in the intelligence center. She had been doing this job for 5 years and spoke 12 alien languages. The aliens always talked freely on their communication channels. They thought humans were too stupid to understand their languages. Today was different. Today, the communications were full of excitement. The Vex-Tar were celebrating their victory at New Seoul. They were already planning which human colonies to attack next. The other alien species were laughing about human weakness. One message made her stop breathing. It was from the Kethra ambassador to the Galactic Council. The message said, "Humans are like children who think they can play with adults. Perhaps in a few hundred years they might become interesting. But for now, they are only good for entertainment." Lee Na-ri saved the message and sent it to Kim Tae-ho. She knew the Admiral would want to hear this. The aliens thought humans were weak and stupid. They thought humans would always be weak and stupid. They were about to learn how wrong they were in the lower levels of Earth Station 1. Dr. Choi Min-soo was working in his secret laboratory. He had been working here for 15 years, ever since the aliens first gave humans their old technology. The aliens thought they were being generous giving. Humans, they're outdated machines and old science books. Dr. Choi Min-soo knew better. He knew the aliens were giving humans garbage and expecting them to be grateful, but humans were good at making something from nothing. They were good at taking broken things and making them work better. On his desk were the plans for the new human battle fleet ships that could move faster than anything the aliens had ever seen. Weapons that could cut through alien armor like paper shields that could stop anything the aliens could throw at them. The best part was that the aliens had helped build it all. Every piece of alien technology they had given to humans. Every scientific journal they had shared, every casual conversation with human scientists had been feeding into this project. The aliens thought they were teaching pets to do tricks. They were actually teaching wolves to hunt. Dr. Choi Min-soo picked up his communication device and called Kim Tae-ho Admiral. He said the new ships are ready, all of them. Every weapon system has been tested. Every shield has been checked. We are ready, good, said Kim Tae-ho. How long until we can begin? The first wave can launch in 6 hours, said Dr. Choi Min-soo. The second wave in 12 hours. By tomorrow we will have 500 ships ready for battle. 500 ships, Kim Tae-ho repeated. The aliens think we have maybe 50 ships that can fight. They have no idea what we have been building. No, sir, they do not. Dr. Choi Min-soo sounded happy for the first time in years. They think human technology is 20 years behind theirs. They are about to discover it is actually 20 years ahead. Kim Tae-ho ended the call and looked out the window again. The stars were the same, but everything else was about to change. For 20 years, humans had been playing a careful game. They had pretended to be weak while they grew strong. They had accepted insults while they planned revenge. They had followed alien laws while they built something the galaxy had never seen. The aliens thought they understood humans. They thought humans were simple and emotional creatures who would always be inferior. They were about to learn that humans were very good at hiding their true nature. Captain Park, Ji-woo, returned to the command center. Sir, he said, all fleet commanders have confirmed receipt of orders. Operation Reckoning is beginning. Human ships are moving to attack positions across the galaxy. Kim Tae-ho nodded. Good, he said. Signal the Galactic Council. Tell them we are no longer interested in their protection. Tell them we will handle our own affairs from now on. What about the diplomatic consequences? Asked Park Ji-woo. There will be no diplomatic consequences, said Kim Tae-ho. After today, diplomacy will work very differently in this galaxy. The aliens have spent 20 years teaching us that strength is the only thing that matters. Now we will show them just how strong humans can be. The first human battle fleet launched from Earth Station 130. Minutes later, the ships moved in perfect formation toward the Vex-Tar Empire. Their mission was simple: rescue the human slaves and show the galaxy what happened when humans ran out of patience. Kim Tae-ho watched them go and smiled. The galaxy was about to learn that human patience had limits, and those limits had just been crossed. Dr. Choi Min-soo walked through the hidden corridors of Titan Base, deep beneath the surface of Saturn's largest moon. The base had been built over 15 years in complete secrecy. Every human who worked here had sworn to never speak of what they did. The galaxy thought Titan was just a mining colony. They had no idea it was actually the most advanced research facility in known space. The first laboratory Dr. Choi Min-soo entered was filled with new weapons. Lieutenant Yoon Da-eun stood next to a suit of black armor that looked nothing like the bulky suits aliens used. This armor was sleek and moved like water when she demonstrated it. Watch this, she said to Dr. Choi Min-soo. She put on the helmet and suddenly she disappeared from sight. The armor had made her completely invisible to every type of sensor the aliens used. Not just their eyes, but their heat detectors, their motion sensors, everything. The Vex-Tar think their power armor makes them invincible, said Yoon Da-un. Her voice came from empty air because she was still invisible. A human wearing this suit could walk through a Vextar army base, and they would never know he was there. We can be ghosts when we want to be ghosts. She became visible again and showed him the weapons built into the armor, energy cannons that could punch through alien ship hulls, plasma blades that could cut through any metal the aliens had ever made, personal shields that could stop anything short of a direct hit from a battleship main. Gun. The aliens gave us their old armor designs 5 years ago, said Dr. Choi Min-soo. They thought they were being generous, giving us technology that was 50 years out of date. They never imagined we would take their old ideas and make them 100 times better. In the next laboratory, engineer Hong Kyung-soo was working on something that made Dr. Choi Min-soo's eyes wide with amazement. It was a ship engine, but not like any engine that had ever been built. The engine was small enough to fit in his hands, but it was producing more power than the massive engines that moved alien dreadnoughts. "How is this possible?" asked Dr. Choi Min-soo. We stopped thinking like the aliens, said Hong Kyung-soo. They build big engines because they think bigger means more powerful. But humans learned a long time ago that sometimes smaller is better. We took their fusion technology and made it work in ways they never imagined. He led Dr. Choi Min-soo to a window that looked out into space. There, floating next to Titan, was a human ship that looked impossibly beautiful. It was half the size of an alien cruiser, but sleek and fast, like a hunting bird. "That ship can outrun anything in the Kethra fleet," said Hong Kyung-soo. "It can turn faster than a Vextar fighter. It can accelerate harder than anything the T-Laney have ever built. And it has more firepower than most alien battleships. The aliens taught us how to build engines. We taught ourselves how to build better ones." Dr. Choi Min-soo shook his head in amazement. 20 years ago, when the aliens first came to Earth, humans had been using chemical rockets to barely reach their own moon. Now they were building ships that could dance around alien fleets like children playing games. The weapons laboratory was where Sergeant Bae Sung-min was waiting with the most incredible surprise of all. He stood next to a weapon that looked simple and small, like an old human rifle. But when he fired it at a test target, the results were spectacular. The target was made of the same metal the aliens used for their ship armor. It was supposed to be the strongest material in the galaxy. The human weapon cut through it like it was made of paper. The beam of energy went through the first target, then through the second target, then through the third target. It kept going until it hit the back wall of the laboratory. "We call it a quantum disruptor," said Sergeant Bae Sung-min. "It does not just shoot energy at the target. It actually changes the way atoms work. In the target, the metal stops being metal. The shields stop being shields. Everything just falls apart. How many of these do we have?" asked Dr. Choi Min-soo. "Every human soldier will carry one," said Sergeant Bae Sung-min. "Every human ship has the big versions, mounted as main guns. The aliens think their shields and armor will protect them. They are about to learn that protection only works if your enemy is using the same old ideas you are in the intelligence center." Agent Lim So Young was showing Dr. Choi Min-soo the greatest secret of all, a map of the galaxy that showed the location of every alien military base, every alien government building, every alien research facility. The map had more detail than anything the Galactic Council had in their own records. "How did we get this information?" asked Dr. Choi Min-soo. "We asked for it," said Agent Lim So Young, and she smiled. "The aliens were very helpful. For 20 years, they have been giving us tours of their facilities. They have been sharing their scientific research with us. They have been telling us about their military capabilities. They thought they were educating primitive humans. They were actually giving us all the information we needed to plan their defeat." She touched a control, and the map changed to show alien communication networks. Every message, every call, every secret transmission that the aliens sent to each other was being intercepted and recorded by human intelligence. The aliens think their communications are secure. said Agent Lim, so young. They use codes that would take their own computers thousands of years to break. But human computers are not like alien computers. We think differently, so we solve their codes differently. Most of their secret messages, we can read faster than they can. Dr. Choi Min-soo sat down heavily in a chair. The scope of what humanity had accomplished was beyond anything he had imagined. 20 years of pretending to be weak while actually becoming the strongest species in the galaxy. Captain Park Ji-woo entered the intelligence center. Admiral Kim Tae-ho wants to see you, he said. The first phase of Operation Reckoning is about to begin. As they walked back to the command center, Dr. Choi Min-soo asked the question that had been bothering him. Why did we wait so long if we have been this powerful for years? Why did we keep pretending to be weak, Park? Ji-woo looked at him seriously because we needed to be sure. He said we needed to know everything about every alien species. We needed to understand their technology, their psychology, their fears. We needed to be certain that when we finally acted, we could win completely. Not just one battle, but the entire war. And now we are certain, asked Dr. Choi Min-soo. Now we are certain, said Park Ji-woo. The aliens taught us everything we needed to know about them, but they learned nothing about us. They still think we are the same primitive species that first contact 20 years ago. They are about to discover how wrong they are in the command center. Admiral Kim Tae-ho was looking at reports from across the galaxy. Human agents who had been placed in alien governments years ago were now sending back detailed intelligence about alien military movements. Human scientists who had been dismissed as inferior by alien researchers were revealing technologies that made alien science look ancient. The Vextar think they are the fiercest warriors in the galaxy, said Kim Tae-ho. But they have never fought humans who were actually trying to win. The Kethra think they are the smartest species in the galaxy, but they have been outsmarted by humans for 20 years. The T-Laney think they have the best technology, but human technology is now so advanced they would not recognize it as technology at all. He turned to face his officers. The aliens made one critical mistake, he said. They thought that because we were new to the galaxy, we would always be inferior to them. They never considered that humans might learn faster than other species. They never imagined that humans might be more creative, more determined, more patient than anyone else in the galaxy. The first human battle fleet was approaching Vextar space. Admiral Kim Tae-ho opened communication channels to every human ship in the galaxy. Today we stop pretending, he said. Today the galaxy learns what humans really are. Commander Oh Jae-sung stood on the bridge of the human battleship Retribution and watched the Vextar slave processing station grow larger on the screen. The station was massive, built like a fortress with weapon systems that could destroy entire fleets. At least that was what the Vextar believed. Behind him, 50 human warships moved in perfect formation. Their hulls were dark and smooth, absorbing sensor beams and making them almost invisible. The Vextar had no idea death was approaching. Their most secure facility. Sir, reported Lieutenant Commander Lee Ji-hyun. We are detecting 3,000 human life signs inside the station and 700 smaller signals. The children are being held in the lower levels. The adults are in the mining preparation areas. Commander Oh Jae-sung nodded. The Vextar always separated families. It made the slaves more obedient when they were worried about their loved ones, but today, the separation would work against them. The humans knew exactly where to strike. How many Vextar defenders? Asked Commander Oh Jae-sung. Approximately 5,000 soldiers and 200 ships, replied the tactical officer. The station weapons are fully charged and ready. They have enough firepower to stop any known attack force. Commander Oh Jae-sung smiled. Any known attack force, he repeated. Signal all ships. Begin the demonstration. The first surprise came when the human ship suddenly appeared right next to the station. The Vextar had been watching empty space, and then suddenly there were 50 warships within weapons range. The alien defenders barely had time to sound alarms before the human attack began. The second surprise was the weapons. The human ships fired beams of pure energy that cut through. Vextar shields like they were made of paper. The station armor that had never been penetrated by any weapon began to melt under the human assault. Vextar gunners fired back desperately, but their shots seemed to slide off the human ships without causing any damage inside the station. Vextar Commander Sector watched his tactical displays with growing horror. His weapons were useless against the human ships, his shields were failing everywhere, and his communication systems were being jammed in ways he had never seen before. Impossible, he growled. How can human technology be superior to ours? We have been building warships for 3,000 years. His aide Corval was shaking with fear. Sir, the human ships are using weapons that attack our hull at the molecular level. Our armor is simply dissolving. They also have some kind of shield system that makes our energy weapons harmless. On the human flagship, Private Kim Yoo-jin and her Special Forces team prepared for boarding action. There, new stealth suits made them completely invisible to Vextar sensors, and their weapons could cut through any alien armor. The mission was simple: get to the human prisoners and get them out alive. The stealth suits worked better than even Dr. Choi. Min-soo had hoped Kim Yoo-jin and her team walked through Vextar security checkpoints without being detected. They passed guards who looked right at them and saw nothing. The alien sensors registered empty corridors while 12 human soldiers moved through them. The first Vextar guard went down silently. Kim Yoo-jin's weapon fired a beam that simply made him disappear. His partner turned to investigate and met the same fate. The human soldiers moved through the station like ghosts, leaving. No trace except empty guard posts. In the control room, Commander Sector was receiving reports that made no sense. Guards were vanishing from their posts. Security cameras showed empty corridors, but the guards were not responding to communications. Something was inside his station, but his sensors could not detect it. Sir panicked Corval. We are losing contact with security teams throughout the station. Our sensors show nothing, but our guards are disappearing. Commander Sector hissed in frustration. Activate all automated defenses. Seal all bulkheads. Nothing gets through without authorization. The automated systems activated and immediately began firing at empty air. The human soldiers walked through the defensive fire without being touched. Their shields absorbed the energy weapons, and their stealth systems made the targeting computers shoot at shadows. Kim Yoo-jin reached the first prisoner holding area and saw 300 human adults chained to walls and workstations. Their faces were thin from poor food, and their clothes were torn from hard labor. But their eyes showed hope. When Kim Yoo-jin appeared next to them, "Don't make noise," she whispered as she began cutting their chains. "We are here to take you home. Stay quiet and follow. My team." The prisoners could barely believe what they were seeing. Human soldiers with technology that made them invisible, rescuing them from a station that was supposed to be impossible to attack. The chains fell away like paper, and suddenly they were free on the command deck. Commander O.J. Sung watched the rescue operation through cameras his soldiers carried. The Vextar had built their station to keep prisoners inside and attackers outside. They had never planned for enemies who could walk through walls and ignore their defenses. Sir, reported Lieutenant Commander Lee Ji-hyun. All human prisoners have been located and extraction is beginning. The Vextar defenders are in complete panic. They cannot understand how we are operating. Inside their station, Good said, Commander O.J. Sung. Begin Phase 2. Let them know who they are. Fighting Admiral Kim Tae-ho appeared on every communication screen in the Vextar station. His voice was calm and cold as he spoke to the alien defenders. For 20 years you have treated humans like animals, he said. You have taken our people as slaves and laughed at our protests. You believed we were weak and helpless. Commander Sector stared at the human admiral with hatred in his yellow eyes. Impossible, he snarled. "Human technology is inferior. Human military is weak. Your species has no power in this galaxy, Admiral." Kim Tae-ho smiled. "That was your mistake," he replied. "You confused patience with weakness. You thought restraint meant inability. You are about to learn the difference." The human rescue teams had found all the prisoners and were leading them to extraction points. The Vex-Tar tried to stop them, but their weapons had no effect on the human stealth suits. Their soldiers could not fight. Enemies they could not see. In desperation, Commander Sector ordered his ships to attack the human fleet directly. 200 Vex-Tar warships surrounded the 50 human vessels and opened fire with everything they had. The space around the station, filled with energy beams and explosions. The human ships moved through the attack like dancers. Their shields absorbed the heaviest weapons the Vex-Tar had, and their return fire carved through the alien fleet like a knife through cloth. Vex-Tar ships exploded one after another, unable to penetrate human defenses or survive human weapons. Commander Sector watched his fleet die in less than 10 minutes. 200 ships destroyed by 50 human vessels that seemed immune to every weapon in the Vex-Tar arsenal. His greatest military force had been swept aside like insects. All human prisoners have been recovered, reported. Kim Yoo-jin Station defenses have been neutralized. Enemy fleet has been destroyed. We are ready for final phase, Admiral. Kim Tae-ho nodded. "Broadcast this across all galactic frequencies," he ordered. "Let every species in the galaxy watch what happens when humans run out of patience." The human fleet surrounded the Vex-Tar station and began to take it apart piece by piece. Their weapons cut through the metal like surgeons' tools, removing only what they chose to remove. The Vex-Tar inside could only watch as their impregnable fortress was dismantled around them. "This is the price of underestimating humanity," announced Admiral Kim Tae-ho as his ships finished their work. "For 20 years we have been patient. Today that patience ends. Any species that threatens human lives will face the same fate." The station was left intact but powerless. Its weapons were destroyed. Its shields were gone, and its communication systems had been reprogrammed to broadcast human messages. The Vex-Tar survivors were left alive but helpless, knowing that their greatest military installation had been defeated by a force they had considered harmless. Commander Oh Jae-sung looked at the tactical display showing the rescued humans safely aboard his ships and the destroyed Vex-Tar fleet floating in space. "Sir," he said, "message sent. The galaxy will know that everything has changed. Admiral." Kim Tae-ho smiled. "Yes," he replied. "Everything has changed, and this is only the beginning." On the crystal world of Talana, Prime Minister Vel Chris stood before a wall of glowing displays showing the destruction of the Vex-Tar fleet. Her species had lived for thousands of years and had seen many wars, but nothing like this. The tactical analysis made no sense according to everything the Talani knew about. Physics advisor Cormin approached with more disturbing reports. "Minister," he said, "our scientists have analyzed the recordings from the battle. The human weapons appear to manipulate matter at the quantum level. Their ships move in ways that violate our understanding of space and time." Minister Vel Chris studied the displays with growing concern. The Talani had always believed they possessed the most advanced science in the galaxy. Their crystal technology could predict outcomes and calculate possibilities better than any other species. But every prediction about human capabilities had been completely wrong. "How is this possible?" she asked. "Our calculations showed that human technology was decades behind ours. Our models predicted it would take them centuries to develop effective weapons." Advisor Cormin showed her new data. "Minister, I believe our models were based on false information. The humans have been deliberately showing us primitive technology while secretly developing superior systems. Everything we knew about their capabilities was a lie." In the hive chambers of Zentrix, the Zephyri Queen Mother studied battle reports with her thousand-mind consciousness. Her species had conquered half the galaxy through overwhelming numbers and perfect coordination. But the recordings from the human attack showed coordination that surpassed even the hive mind secondary queen. Vex 12 transmitted confusion through the neural network. Queen Mother, the human ships moved with precision that exceeds our capabilities. Their formations adapted faster than our battle computers could calculate. How can individual minds coordinate better than our collective consciousness? Queen Mother felt disturbance ripple through her 1,000 minds. The Zephyri had always believed that individual thinking was inferior to collective consciousness, but the human fleet had demonstrated tactical brilliance that made the hive mind look slow and clumsy. Perhaps thought Queen Mother individual minds working together are different from minds forced together. Each human commander contributed unique ideas, while our collective thoughts all blend into similarity. The most disturbing report came from the insectoid hive lord Kextal, who had witnessed human soldiers moving through the Vextar station. Queen Mother, he reported, the humans possessed technology that made them undetectable to all known sensors. They moved through defended areas, as if the defenses did not exist. Queen Mother shared the concern through all her minds. If humans could be invisible to sensors, then the Zephyri advantage of numbers meant nothing. The humans could strike at the heart of the hive without warning, and the Zephyri would never see them coming. On Earth, President Kang So-ra sat in the Global Defense Council chambers, addressing representatives from every human colony and settlement. The room was filled with people who had lived their entire lives under the shadow of alien superiority. Today, that shadow was finally lifting. My fellow humans, she began. For 20 years, we have endured insults from species who considered us inferior. We have accepted unfair treaties because we were told we had no choice. We have watched our people suffer because alien law said we deserved no protection. The representatives listened with growing excitement. They had all received reports of the Vextar defeat and knew that everything was about to change. President Kang So-ra continued with growing conviction in her voice. Today we proved that human patience has limits. We showed the galaxy that our restraint was a choice, not a weakness. From this day forward, humanity will no longer ask for permission to defend our people. We will no longer accept being treated as second-class citizens in our own galaxy. In the research stations of Titan Base, Dr. Yang Yun-ha worked with a team of xenobiologists who had spent years studying alien psychology and culture. While other species focused on military strength, humans had been learning something far more valuable. They had been learning how their enemies thought. Dr. Shin Woo-jin approached with psychological profiles of every major alien leader. We know exactly how each species will react to our demonstration. He reported, the Vextar will become more aggressive but less coordinated. The Talani will retreat and try to understand what happened. The Zephyri will attempt to form alliances with other species. Dr. Yang Yun-ha smiled. The aliens had never bothered to study human psychology. They had decided humans were simple and emotional and never looked deeper, but humans had been studying alien minds for 20 years, learning their fears, their weaknesses, and their mistakes. Each species has predictable patterns, she observed. The Vextar always respond to defeat with rage, which makes them make tactical errors. The Talani become paralyzed by analysis when their predictions fail. The Zephyri panic when they face something their collective mind cannot understand. Dr. Shin Woo-jin showed her intelligence reports from across the galaxy. Sir, the alien governments are calling emergency sessions. Every major species is trying to understand how humans became so powerful so quickly. They are demanding explanations their scientists cannot provide. Perfect, said Dr. Yang Yun-ha. Confusion and fear will make them act irrationally. When enemies are afraid, they make mistakes. When they make mistakes, they become easier to defeat. The Galactic Council called an emergency session for the first time in 50 years. Representatives from hundreds of species gathered in the Great Chamber on Nexus Station to discuss the human problem. The chamber buzzed, with worried conversations and frightened whispers. Kethra Ambassador Tekvar, stood at the central podium and addressed the assembly. The humans have violated galactic law by attacking a legitimate Vextar operation. She announced they must be forced to return to their proper place as a minor species. But when the council called for the human representative to respond, they received an unexpected message. Diplomat Shin Woo-jin appeared on the communication screen with a calm smile. Honored Council. Members, he said, humanity is no longer interested in participating in your organization. We have decided to handle our own affairs from now on. Thank you for 20 years of valuable lessons about how the galaxy really works. The alien representatives stared in shock. No species had ever withdrawn from the Galactic Council. The Council was supposed to be the supreme authority in the galaxy. How could humans simply ignore it, Kethra? Ambassador Tekvar screeched in outrage. Humans cannot simply leave the Council. You are bound by galactic law. You must obey our decisions. Diplomat. Shin Woo-jin shook his head. Ambassador, he replied. Galactic law only applies to species that choose to follow it. We choose not to follow it anymore. We choose to make our own laws. If you do not like this choice, you are welcome to try to force us to change it. The communication ended, leaving the council chamber in chaos. Some representatives demanded military action against the humans. Others argued for negotiation. Still others suggested that maybe humans should be treated with more respect. What none of them understood was that the choice was no longer theirs. To make humanity had spent 20 years learning the rules of galactic civilization. Now they were going to write new rules, and the rest of the galaxy would have to learn to live with them. Commander An Hyo-jin sat in the Tactical Center on Earth Station 1, coordinating human fleet movements across the galaxy. Her screens showed human ships, taking positions near every major alien world. Not to attack, but to remind the aliens that humans could attack if they chose to, so she reported to Admiral Kim Tae-ho. All human fleets are in position. Phase 2 of Operation Reckoning is ready to begin. The aliens know we are here, but they do not know what we plan to do next. Admiral Kim Tae-ho looked at the strategic display showing human ships throughout galactic space. For 20 years, the aliens had taught humans that strength was the only language they understood. Now humans were going to speak that language fluently. Let them wonder, he said, let them fear. Let them realize that the balance of power in this galaxy has shifted permanently. The age of human patience is over. The age of human strength has begun. The greatest military force in galactic history assembled at the neutral zone between human space and the core worlds. 3,000 ships from 30 different species, all united in their determination to destroy the human threat. Supreme Commander Zekthor of the Vextar Empire stood on the bridge of the massive dreadnought Dominator and looked at displays showing the largest fleet ever created. General Klixvar of the Zephyri Swarm stood beside him with confidence radiating from his insectoid. Features. 3,000 ships against 50 human vessels, he clicked. We will crush them and return the galaxy to proper order. The humans will learn that superior numbers always win. Admiral Vex Kala joined them on the command deck with her yellow eyes gleaming with anticipation. The humans surprised us once, she hissed. But surprise only works when the enemy is not prepared. Now we know what they can do. We have adapted our tactics and our shields. Supreme Commander Zekthor nodded with satisfaction. Every species in the Alliance had contributed their best ships and their finest warriors. The humans might have new technology, but they were still vastly outnumbered. The laws of warfare had not changed that much. Across the battlefield, Admiral Kim Tae-ho stood on the bridge of the human flagship Determination and studied the massive alien fleet approaching his position. His 50 ships looked tiny compared to the alien armada, but he was not worried. Numbers meant nothing when you understood your enemy better than they understood themselves. Captain Park Ji-woo approached with tactical reports from the Human Intelligence Network. Sir Agent Lim So-young reports that we have been monitoring alien communications for the past week. We know their battle plan, their formation strategies, and their command structure, Admiral Kim Tae-ho smiled. The aliens thought they were being clever by uniting their fleets, but they had made the same mistake they always made. They underestimated human intelligence-gathering capabilities. Every alien ship in the fleet had been infiltrated by human agents. "What else do our people report?" he asked. "Agent Kim Dong-hyun has sabotaged the Vextar command systems," replied Captain Park. "Ji-woo, Agent Park. Sunmi has corrupted the Zephyri battle computers. Agent Lee Min-ho has planted false intelligence in the Talani databases. The enemy fleet will be fighting with compromised information and failing systems. The alien fleet advanced in a formation. That looked impressive, but was actually full of weaknesses. The different species had never learned to coordinate properly because each one believed their tactics were superior. The humans had studied these coordination problems for years and knew exactly how to exploit them. Supreme Commander Zekthor gave the order to attack, and 3,000 alien ships opened fire simultaneously. Space filled with energy beams and projectiles as the greatest naval barrage in galactic history struck the human fleet. The aliens watched their screens expecting to see 50 human ships destroyed instantly. Instead, they watched their weapons slide harmlessly off human shields that seemed to absorb infinite amounts of energy. The human ships moved through, the massive attack like dancers avoiding every shot that might have penetrated their defenses. "Impossible," roared Supreme Commander Zekthor. "Our combined firepower should destroy any defense. How can 50 ships survive the attack of 3,000? The answer came when the human ships returned fire. Each human vessel unleashed weapons that carved through the alien fleet like knives through cloth. Alien ships began exploding faster than the commanders could count their advanced armor and shields. Useless against human quantum weapons, General Klixvar watched in horror as his Zephyri ships died around him. "Our battle computers are malfunctioning." He clicked frantically. "Our coordination is breaking down. Our formations are falling apart, Admiral." Vexkala hissed in rage as Vextar dreadnoughts exploded one after another. "Our command systems are failing," she snarled. "Our targeting computers are attacking our own ships. Our communications are being jammed." What none of them realized was that human agents had been sabotaging their fleets for weeks. Every system failure, every communication breakdown, every tactical mistake had been carefully planned. The aliens thought they were fighting 50 human ships, but they were actually fighting the result of 20 years of human preparation. Commander Go Min-jung coordinated the human electronic warfare assault from her position on the flagship. Her team had spent years learning alien computer systems, and now they were using that knowledge to turn the alien fleet against itself. "Target the Vextar flagship," she ordered. "Make their weapons target their own escorts. Redirect the Zephyri communications so their formations attack each other. Overload the Talani battle computers with false sensor data." The alien fleet began to tear itself apart as confused commanders received contradictory orders and corrupted data. Vextar ships fired on Zephyri vessels. Zephyri swarms attacked Talani formations. Talani battle groups engaged species they thought were enemies but were actually allies. Supreme Commander Zekthor realized that his great fleet was destroying itself, but could not understand why everything is going wrong. He roared, "Our allies are attacking us. Our systems are failing. Our battle plan is useless." Admiral Kim Tae-ho broadcast across all frequencies so every alien ship could hear his voice. "You united to destroy humanity," he said calmly. "You brought your greatest fleets and your finest warriors. You believed that superior numbers would guarantee victory. You were wrong." The human fleet began to systematically dismantle what remained of the alien armada. Each human ship targeted specific enemy vessels with precision that demonstrated complete tactical superiority. The aliens had brought overwhelming force, but humans had brought overwhelming intelligence. But the most devastating revelation was yet to come. While the alien fleets battled in space, Colonel Ryu Jun-ho and his Special Forces teams had simultaneously struck at every major alien homeworld. not to cause destruction, but to prove a point. Colonel Ryu Junho stood in the throne room of the Vextar Emperor on the heavily defended capital world of Vex Prime. His stealth suit made him invisible until he chose to appear. The Emperor stared in shock as a human soldier materialized in the most secure location in the Vextar Empire. "Your fleets are fighting in the neutral zone," the colonel said quietly, "while human soldiers have walked into your palace, undetected. We could have killed you at any time. We chose not to, because we wanted you to understand the message." Similar scenes played out across the galaxy. Human soldiers appeared in the Zephyri Queen Mother's inner chambers in the Talani Crystal, palaces, and in the command centers of every species that had joined the alliance against humanity. Each leader found themselves face to face with human warriors who could have ended their lives but chose not to. The message was clear and terrifying. Humanity had been holding back. The aliens had never faced human military capabilities at full strength. What they saw as overwhelming human power was actually human restraint, and that restraint had just been lifted, Supreme Commander Zek Thor received. Reports from his homeworld with growing horror. Human soldiers were inside the most secure facilities of every allied species. They had bypassed every defense, penetrated every security system, and demonstrated that alien leaders lived only because humans allowed them to live. "Surrender," he whispered into his communicator. "Signal all ships to surrender immediately." Admiral Kim Tae-ho accepted the alien surrender with the same calm voice he had used throughout the battle. "Your species united too. Teach humanity a lesson." He announced, "You succeeded." The lesson we learned is that alien military power exists only because we have chosen not to demonstrate our true capabilities. The great alien fleet that had assembled to crush humanity limped. Away from the battlefield, broken and defeated, less than half the ships survived, and those that did survive carried the no. Admiral Kim Tae-ho stood on the observation deck of Earth Station 1 and watched as representatives from every major alien species arrived to negotiate the new galactic order. Their ships moved slowly and carefully through human space, knowing that any aggressive move would result in instant destruction. The proud alien fleets that had terrorized the galaxy for millennia now begged for safe passage through human territory. President Kang So-ra entered the observation deck with diplomat Shin Woo-jin, carrying the documents that would reshape galactic civilization. The negotiations had taken 3 months, but the results were exactly what humanity had planned for 20 years. "The aliens have accepted all our terms," she reported with satisfaction. "They will withdraw from all human colonies. They will pay reparations for 20 years of illegal attacks, and they will recognize human sovereignty over our entire sector of the galaxy." Admiral Kim Tae-ho nodded. The threats and insults had stopped the moment alien leaders realized that human soldiers could appear in their private chambers any time they chose. The same species that had mocked human weakness now trembled at the mention of human displeasure. "What about the Vextar Empire?" he asked. "Emperor, Zek Prime has agreed to personally deliver the slaves taken from New Seoul," replied diplomat Shin Woo-jin. "He will also provide compensation to every human family affected by Vextar raids over the past 2 decades. He seemed very eager to avoid further demonstrations of human military capabilities. In the crystal palaces of Talana, Prime Minister Velkris knelt before the human holographic projection with submission that would have been unthinkable 6 months ago. The Talani had spent weeks analyzing human technology and reached the terrifying conclusion that humans were not just superior. In some areas, they were superior in every area. "Honored human leaders," she said with fear, making her crystal body dim. "We humbly request continued peaceful relations with your species. We offer our scientific knowledge, our trade resources, and our complete cooperation in exchange for your protection." The human representative smiled politely, but the Talani could feel the cold calculation behind the expression. "Your scientific knowledge is interesting," he replied, "but we have already surpassed Talani capabilities in every field. Your trade resources will be accepted at fair prices set by human economists. Your cooperation will be expected." Not negotiated Minister Velkris felt despair flow through her crystalline structure. The Talani had ruled through superior science and technology for thousands of years. Now they discovered that their greatest achievements were primitive compared to what humans had developed in secret on the hive world of Zentrix. Queen Mother faced the most difficult decision in Zephyri history. Her species had conquered half the galaxy through overwhelming numbers and perfect coordination. But human tactics had proven that individual minds working together could outthink even the greatest collective consciousness. Secondary Queen Vex 12 transmitted anxiety through the neural network. Queen Mother, the humans offer us a choice: we can accept their authority and keep our current territory, or we can resist and face the consequences of defying them. Queen Mother felt the collective fear of her 1,000 minds. The humans had demonstrated that they could appear anywhere, strike at any target, and defeat any opposition. Resistance was not just futile, it was suicide. Send acceptance, she decided through the neural network. The Zephyri swarm submits to human authority. We will follow their laws, respect their territory, and provide any assistance they require. The most important meeting took place on Nexus Station, where the remnants of the Galactic Council gathered to officially dissolve their authority. The great chamber that had once echoed with alien arrogance now filled. With whispered conversations and fearful glances, Kethra Ambassador Tekvar stood at the central podium, but her proud bearing was gone. Her feathers were dull, and her voice shook as she spoke. The Galactic Council hereby acknowledges that we no longer possess the authority to govern galactic affairs. We transfer all administrative functions to the Human Colonial Authority Diplomat. Xin Wu Jin accepted the transfer with gracious words that masked the complete victory humanity had achieved. "We thank the Council for their years of service." He said human authority will be fair, just, and applied equally to all species. The